everyone. My name is Hari and I'm with USC's Young Scientists Program. As you can see, it's raining pretty hard here in Chicago, Illinois. But today we're going to investigate why that happens. Follow me inside and we're going to do a quick activity to learn about the water cycle.
Now let's take a closer look at what happens during the water cycle as seen in this diagram right here. The cycle starts off with evaporation, where the sun heats up the water found in oceans or lakes or puddles, causing it to turn into a gas called water vapor. Once the water vapor rises up into the air, it's cold up there, so it turns back into water droplets when it forms clouds at the top of the picture. These clouds start to get heavy during the condensation process, and once they're heavy enough, the water droplets have no place to go but back down to the ground. And that is called precipitation. Now there are four main types of precipitation that you might know of, which are rain, snow, sleet, and hail. Lastly, once all the precipitation comes to the ground, then it has to collect somehow in the form of rivers flowing or puddles forming, and that's the collection phase at the end of the water cycle. Now this whole process keeps repeating itself over and over and over again, starting with evaporation, then condensation, then precipitation, and finally collection. Now you may be asking, if the water cycle keeps repeating itself over and over again, how long has it been going for? Hundreds of years, thousands of years, millions of years? And the answer is much more than that. The water cycle has been constantly going ever since water first appeared on Earth. And that means that some of the water that maybe the dinosaurs were drinking, we could be drinking as well, because water constantly goes through this cycle over and over again. Now here's a group of scientists from way back in the 1940s. The Tuskegee Weather Detachment was a pioneering group of meteorologists in our nation's history. Meteorologists are scientists who study the weather. For the military to be able to fly their planes, they need to make sure that the weather will be safe. Some of these men, like Charles E. Anderson and Archie Williams, studied engineering and chemistry in college and were able to use that knowledge to predict the weather so that the pilots of the military were not in danger. And now we will begin the activity portion of the lesson on the water cycle. The materials you need are a Ziploc bag sandwich-sized, a Sharpie, and some water. Position the Ziploc bag on your writing surface so we can draw our diagram. Let's title our diagram, The Water Cycle. The first step of the water cycle is evaporation, so we will write that on the left-hand side. When the water evaporates, it has to come from somewhere, so we'll create a nice puddle at the bottom of our Ziploc bag. The sun will provide the heat required for the water to evaporate until it rises up as water vapor into the sky, forming a cloud. When the water forms a cloud, that is called condensation because the water vapor turns back into water droplets. When these droplets get too heavy, they fall back down to the earth as precipitation. The types of precipitation we know are rain, snow, sleet, and hail. Lastly, that water could land in puddles or rivers or waterfalls and soon has to be collected during the collection stage so the water cycle can keep repeating over and over again. Now that our diagram is finished, we can fill up our Ziploc bag about a quarter of the way with water. If you are afraid of spilling, ask an adult for help with that step. Make sure to seal the bag tightly so no water can escape. Now that our bag is done, take a piece of tape and find a window that gets lots of sunlight. Tape the bag up to the window and let's see what happens. Check up on your bag every couple of days, especially in the mornings, and you'll see some condensation start to form. If you give it a couple flicks, the water droplets will begin to fall as precipitation back down to the pool of water at the bottom. I hope you enjoyed this activity and thanks for watching.